So, back for another VGC guide, and this time we're looking at Kingambit, the Pokemon evolution I don't think any of us were expecting, and didn't think we even needed it. Bisharp itself was a great Pokemon. Like, I'm pretty sure that Bisharp has won regionals before. I don't know why it needed an evolution, but I am not complaining. Some people might, but EVO like Bisharp is now a thing. That's quite funny. But yeah, Kingambit. It's an upgrade to Bisharp. So it's way bulkier. That's a significant increase over Bisharp, I guess. But Bisharp is now technically bulkier with the Eviolite, but yeah, it's much bulkier. It's only a tiny bit stronger, but it's slower as well. So it can be made use of in Trick Room slightly more. But you don't really care about too much speed on Kingambit anyway, / Bisharp, whatever. Bisharp tends to be run Focus Sash with max speed, and 70 speed is pretty reasonable, so it will be able to outspeed a lot of things. 50 is not fast enough for a Focus Sash, really, to be going for it. 50 is on the cusp. I think 55 is probably the slowest, but then, even then, not much point. But there's no point going Focus Sash on this because its bulk is fantastic. Like, really, really significant bulk. So, if you bulk it out even further with an Assault Vest, you can get to some quite ridiculous special defense levels. This special defense investments may seem like a lot, but when I saw the calc and it was able to survive, I thought it was quite funny. It survives a Life Orb Armor Cannon from Armor Rouge. That's pretty funny. So, yeah, there you go. You don't have to go that specially defensive, but I thought that calc was quite funny, the fact that it can survive. You definitely can drop it. If you don't need that much special defense and you do want more offenses, go to 193, because that will OHKO a Armor Rouge if you are +1 thanks to your Defiant, or if they are -1 thanks to their Armor Cannon, and then dump the rest in special defense. I said Showdown. Dump the rest in special defense. But this calc is funny. And the fact that you have Defiant, a fantastic ability in doubles, thanks to all the Intimidate and the status dropping that people like to go for like Icy Wind and all that stuff. Defiant is fantastic. You won't need as much attack investment to be able to make use of that, because as soon as you're +1, you're doing great damage. You're still doing pretty reasonable damage without that, so there's not too much of an increase going with the more attack investment, but you want to make use of your 1.5 boost that you have available. So this is technically more efficient by getting more stats out of it, by bumping up the special defense super high, but you can definitely go more offensive. You may need to go more offensive. This might not be strong enough. I don't know, but that defensive count was funny, so that's what I'm going with for now. So, yeah, definitely have these 3 moves that's in white at the moment. There's one red one, because it could be Terra Blast or Low Kick. Kowtow Cleave, is that how you pronounce it? Kowtow Cleave is what I'm going to go with, is the strongest attack move it has on the dark typing that is not priority, so you do want to be going for that. You could drop it for Assurance. You definitely could just justifiably do that because Kingambit is so slow. Kowtow Cleave is going to be much more consistent. Assurance is going to give you 120 base power move if you're moving after you've already hit. You probably are, to be fair, because you're pretty slow. So Assurance over Kowtow Cleave would be entirely justifiable. Like, I would see no issues going with that instead. But definitely have Iron Head and Sucker Punch. Like, literally do not have Iron Head and Sucker Punch on this Assault Vest set. And then, you know, chose a dark move, and then Terra Blast / Low Kick. Low Kick is going to be very nice into stuff like T-Tar or opposing Kingambits, because you can very nearly get the OHKO with the Low Kick. So you're going to be doing, oh, look at that, it's combined. Some very good damage to the Low Kick, and fighting is very good coverage with Dark and Iron Head. With Dark and Steel, so that would be very good. But Terra Blast is also going to be very good coverage because you can justifiably Terra type into quite a few things. Fairy is going to be very good. It's hitting the fighting types. That's going to be quad super effective against regular Kingambit's typings. So Fairy would be very good in dealing with that. You could also do the same if you are flying. Flying would be able to hit the opposing fighting types as well, but also it would make you immune to ground types, which are also super effective against you. So flying would be very good, but it's not as good offensively as Fairy type Terra Blast would be. Also, water would be a very good one, because then you would resist the fire type attacks, and you would also hit super effectively the fire type attacks and the ground type attacks that are super effective against you. Flying makes you immune, but not super effective against them. Water would make you neutral, but more super effective against it. And you could also go with Grass for the same reasons. You'd be able to resist the ground rather than being immune to it, and you would also hit it super effectively. But Grass isn't as good, probably, with Steel, because you're still going to be weak to fire types. Whereas Water, you're not anymore. But this could mean that you are better against things like Spore and Rage Powder and all that. So Kingambit has some very justifiable Terra types. It's going to be annoying to face it because you don't know which one it's going to be, but those are some recommendations. And Terra Blast can easily be splashed onto this set thanks to the fact that it's Assault Vest. So yeah, I think that this is going to be quite a strong Pokemon, and that is just one set. Here's the next one. it is very bulky. Still the same EV spreads going forwards, so you won't survive the Life Orb armor cannon anymore because you don't have your assault vest, but you're still going to have great bulk. And if you are swords dancing, again, you don't need much attack investment. You're going to be bulky enough to survive things, even super effective hits, hint hint, with the weakness policy, so that if you go for a swords dance and get a weakness policy boost, you are +4, your sucker punch is probably KOing most things, and you're hitting with priority, so that would be very, very nice, and it's got the bulk to back it up. I don't think Bishop had the bulk to be justifiably using the Swords Dance set. Kingambit definitely does, so that would be pretty reasonable. And I think that Terra Dark would make more sense on this kind of set because you want to be making the most of your sucker punches. So this would be a more offensive Terra type. On the Assault Vest, it would definitely be more of a defensive Terra type, even though you could Terra Blast and do some good damage. So yeah, definitely just Sucker Punch and Eye Ahead, Swords Dance, and then on this one you probably do want Protect. If you're going with a setup Pokemon, Protect is going to be much, much better. So that because you become much more of a target when you've set up, so then getting a double up into your setup Pokemon while the other thing does a thing is very good. So yeah, still the same bulk. You can very much run Citrus Berry on this if you don't want to go with the weakness policy. If you do, drop it to even numbers, so the Super Fang and Ruination, if that's going to be a thing. Still don't know if that's the thing. If that's the thing, then Citrus Berry will activate on 1 hit because it's an even number. And then just a tiny bit more attack. But yeah, Citrus Berry will bulk it out even further. And then I already see it like a Rotom, basically. Whenever I have a setup Citrus Berry Pokemon, I see it like a Rotom has been in previous form. Well, I say previous formats. I only got Nasty Plot last generation. But just like last generation as a Rotom, it's bulky enough to be able to get that set up, and then you'll be even bulkier with the Citrus Berry. I think those would probably be 2 of the best items that this set could be. But again, there's so many good items. Those are just a couple of recommendations. I'm not saying it's definitive. Those are just recommendations from me. Also, it's very strong. Like 135 is a very, very good attack stat. Choice Band would make it quite ridiculous, especially if you get a Defiant boost on top of that, because if you get a +1 from Defiant, that stacks with Choice Band to a 2.25 boost, which is stronger than double. So it would be very, very strong if you do get a Defiant activation, so then you'd be doing some very, very significant damage. Terra Blast, again, just as the coverage, it could be low kick, so doesn't really matter. Kowtow Cleave, Iron Head, Sucker Punch for sure. Again, could be Assurance. Especially with Choice Band Assurance. Choice Band Assurance I might even recommend Assurance more than Kowtow Cleave here, if it is on the Choice Bands, because most of the time you'd be wanting to Sucker Punch. So yeah, that is still a very, very reasonable change that you can make. So yeah, that's just a few things of the Kingambit. I'm not going to be able to go through everything, because it can do a lot of things. It's, I think, entirely justifiable as an S-tier Pokemon, because Bishop would have probably been around the A tier, so Kingambit's definitely going to be S. I challenge you to dispute me with that one, because this seems like a very, very strong Pokemon to me.